Welcome to the weekly. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Matt.
Hey, Matt. So Matt was kind enough to help out this week with co-hosting. Chris's schedule is a little off kilter, so hopefully we can get things back aligned. We'll find another lunch hour if we have to make that happen, but we'll see. But thank you so much, Matt. In the meantime, coming through on the old color television. All right, and this week on the weekly, Blackmilk D&D fashion. Can't get enough of that. So this is, of course, is another 50th anniversary deal there. Sundered Isles, just ending on Kickstarter. Doppel LED miniatures. So throw away all those traditional miniatures. Doppel is here. Troika charity bundle. And Piskor passes. So let's start with another 50th anniversary celebration. So an Australian-owned clothing brand called Blackmilk announced their new collection, and this collection is going to be all D&D themed for 50th anniversary. I don't think they're specifically going to have like a 50th logo on anything, thank goodness. But it's I think it's only a women's brand. And I think it's all pop culture. Like they use a lot of iconic pop culture stuff. So previous collections have included Star Wars, Pokemon, Avatar, The Last Airbender. But it's not trashy like graphics tees, like all printed all over graphics tees or anything. It is actually like dresses and skirts and tops and things that have would be functional. They just happen to have graphics from some pop culture property. So their website says, calling all adventurers, we're celebrating the 50th anniversary of the world's most popular role-playing game with our first ever D&D Dungeons & Dragons collection. Are you ready to roll? Did they really have to do that? So what is going to be available? So just in I think this week, this coming week, they're going to release the full lookbook of everything that they're releasing in this collection. It will include things like the Dungeon Master Palazzo pants. Well, that's great. The Roll the Dice pouch belts. So, okay. The Boulder's Banquet cuffed pants. And this was depicted on X, the Count Strahd von Zarovich robe, which is a very light, silky robe with a big graphic of a Strahd on the back. It's interesting. I'm surprised because, we talked about the previous collaborations before, basically Pop-Tarts and Chuck Taylor's, and that's about it. And I guess, Ultra Pro did some dice towers and things. But yeah, this is odd. I don't know if the audience exists that even, it's a weird crossover because this is like legitimate clothing. It's not just, t-shirts and, cargo shorts or tights or whatever. But it's an odd combination. The fact that they picked such oddly specific things like the Strahd robe is it's odd. So it's not cosplay. It's just a dress with graphics printed on it. Like they had cargo pants with a map of Hyrule for their like Legend of Zelda, collection and stuff. So they do kind of odd. It's almost clever or almost cute, but then it's just odd. But yeah, so we'll see. So yeah, head over to Blackmilk's website and sign up for their newsletter if you want, because then you'll hear about every one of these crazy things that happens. But the Blackmilk X Cross Dungeons & Dragons collection will be live April 8th at 5 p.m. Eastern. I don't know if that's Australia time or what that is, but yeah, so that was another odd thing. We'll throw that on the pile of odd things that are happening in this 50th anniversary year.
So does the Strahd robe have a big collar with red inlay inside? Or?
It should. No, it's actually just like a dressing gown. It looks like a dressing gown, a black dressing gown printed with vampire-y graphics. Yeah, they're not. They're kind of standard clothing items. I think they designed, and then they have they print graphics on them. So it's not too cosplay. Yeah.
I have a suggestion for them.
Yes.
Kyle Brink thong.
Oh, yes, yes, the Brink thong, I think, yeah, with Kyle's face somewhere. A little piece of Kyle's face. Oh no. Yes. But yeah, so that was a funny promotion for D&D. They're coming. It's by the end of the year, we're going to be amazed at all the odd little ways that people thought they could celebrate this anniversary, and none of them have been very good so far.
Yeah, and they're all like, I don't know, they're like third-party fringe, right? None of it is like Wizards really doing it right so far.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the book, that big history book that's reprinting original D&D is coming, but from how the people, the editors that were putting it together were talking on their like YouTube interview, that sounds like they're already like they're reprinting the original game, but they're still saying, yeah, but it's so much better because it's inclusive now. Like, you know, they're already talking like that. And that was a little disappointing. We don't need that tone in an archival book.
Yeah, what does that mean? They're editing it?
I don't, yeah, or just putting commentary. Yeah, because I think they're just scanning the pages of the original, you know, rules, but then probably, you know, doing that typical disclaimer, you know, back in the day, people thought race meant that you got a +1. I don't know. Yeah, so we'll see. But yeah, that's going to be should be an interesting thing. But they can ruin it with their weird branding that they think they have to do. All right, so this is late news. We're very late to this story, but there's still a little bit here. So pirates, sea monsters, and spaceships. So Sundered Isles was just on Kickstarter. As of this recording, unfortunately, the campaign just ended. But the same makers of Oathsworn, the same designer, has done another expansion. And this was a little surprising because it kind of came out of nowhere. There's a little bit like a pirate setting repopularity resurgence because of the Pirate Borg. I saw on the list of the top 10 RPG publications from last year, Pirate Borg was in the top 10, and that's including like all the, you know, the D&D and Pathfinder and everything. Pirate Borg is getting some pretty decent attention and good sales. So maybe pirates are back, and so we've got the Sundered Isles, which is an expansion, and I think it's considered to be an expansion for the sci-fi version, the Starforged. So Ironsworn, sorry, not Oathsworn. Why do I keep saying that? Ironsworn Starforged, the RPG was just fulfilled, I think, last year. And that's a sci-fi setting with exploration based on the Ironsworn previous Ironsworn by Shawn Tomkin, the fantasy setting, kind of Viking style fantasy setting. And so this is an expansion to play with a ship and a crew as pirates. So I think maybe the rules that were added for the sci-fi setting, you know, being on a ship, having a crew, make more sense to kind of convert those to the pirate, the golden age of piracy timeline, or time period, rather than just a solitary fantasy figure. So that's why it's kind of a continuation of that. But I think you can play it. There's flexibility to play it in a more sci-fi way. So I think some of these rules you can keep your sci-fi setting and play space pirates if you must.
I played Ironsworn a couple times, and I don't see how those rules get any way get in the way of whether you're doing fantasy or sci-fi.
Right.
Because you're making it all up. Like when we played the first time, we decided that our Viking characters were actually from another planet who landed on this fantasy planet.
Nice.
Yeah. So there's really no reason.
Well, that's great. Yeah, so this whole rule set has been touted as one of the best rules, and definitely for solo play. I think it's pretty impressive world building mechanics and kind of narrative driven RPG stories, especially in solo play. So Sundered Isles brings you new gameplay and character options, more world building exercises, a vast array of tools, and random generators for the fantasy age of sails setting. And so there's things like Wind and Tide, Mariners and Marauders, Rebels and Empires, Myth and Magic. And you're, of course, again, you're going to have sworn vows, and you'll chart a path through turbulent waters. So yeah, basically the setting is you have a great ship and a loyal crew that could be in whatever age you would like. So the nice thing, and I think the thing that stands out about how Tomkins does all of his stuff is the digital version of just the core rules, without artwork and things, is always free for these projects. And then if you want printed materials like the card decks or a printed book, then that's what you have to purchase. And kind of following that same thinking, everyone that supported Starforged is going to get a digital version of Sundered Isles for free. So they'll have kind of the full digital version of Sundered Isles for supporting the previous campaign. So he said that 2 weeks after the campaign closes, which is 2 weeks probably from right now, he'll send out links for the digital versions. So so Starforged and Ironsworn, either way, this might be something that interests you, because it'll give you the ship mechanics and things as well, even if you didn't play or back Starforged. But I think that's great. I think that's a really good way to keep people, to make your game accessible and have people play it and be able to try it. And especially if it has solo based, mechanics, then anybody could pick up and try it. You don't have to, download it and then find a group, to play it with. So so Sundered Isles. So unfortunately, the physical. So there'll probably be a print on demand, like a POD version, available after the Kickstarter is fulfilled. And the thing that I didn't get excited about, and I guess it's good for solo play. It's good for having to lay things out. It's all spiral bound books, and spiral bound books are like, they're not easy to put on a shelf. They're always gonna, you don't want to put them in a pile of something. They're gonna get, the spiral will get, not round anymore.
The books bend on the shelf.
Right. Yeah, but they're so nice to lay. They lay perfectly flat, and it's easy to keep your place. So I can understand the thinking for wanting to do that with something, especially like a solo thing that you want to have out and then be able to walk away from. But yes, so Sundered Isles. So keep an eye out for that when that goes onto Drive-Thru or other places. And if you backed any of the previous stuff, check your email for the digital version.
Yeah, not directly related, but thematically related. I've been meaning to suggest we put Pirate Borg on the list of games.
Yeah.
I've only heard good things about it.
Yeah, that's great. And probably my only positive 5e experience was a pirate themed campaign. So yeah, piracy could do wonders for a for a setting.
Just murder hobos with boats.
Right. All right, but a campaign that has not finished, unfortunately, is the Doppel campaign. So Doppel is bringing your RPG characters to life. So Matt, say goodbye to traditional miniatures and say hello to a new era of gaming excitement. So the overhype on this Kickstarter page goes beyond anything I've seen in a long time. So Doppel is a LED miniature, and it is it's already backed. The goal was $10,000. I have 180,000 as of this recording by 1,100 backers. Let's say. So are you tired of the hassle of maintaining multiple miniatures, searching for the right one, dealing with the lost and damaged pieces, carrying bulky cases, and constantly needing new miniatures for each character? Well, Doppel's got you covered. So this, it's a revolutionary digital miniature. So basically it's like a couple inches tall by inch square, because it's supposed to be able to fit in an inch grid map. And a lot of the way that they're depicting it, I think, kind of defeats its utility, because the photos on the Kickstarter page are showing it with traditional miniatures and with traditional dice and everything, and it's the only weird electronic device on the table. So it looks really weird and out of place, and it looks like that's the one thing you want to take off of the table. So they're not doing themselves any good with some of the way they're photographing this thing. But picture this. This is all text from the Kickstarter. As game day arrives, your character's portrait illuminates the Doppel screen, instantly setting you apart at the game table. Whether it's the enchanting melodies of musical chants or a thunderous clash of swords, Doppel's immersive sound effects will captivate everyone in the room as you take your turn.
No.
So you want to be the one guy with the annoying digital miniature.
The guy wrecking immersion for everyone.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me put my little phone booth down here. Yeah. So, so it's a visual and auditory enhanced miniature. It's more than just a game accessory. So basically, it is it's a long, it's just like a little phone booth shaped miniature that has LED screens on two sides, a speaker inside of it, which can't generate much sound. And then also underneath is an LED light that can indicate color or like status effects and things. And they're still like coming up with how that functions. But one of the videos on the website is, was talking about adding this functionality of LED colors, so you can, give them some condition and it'll glow a certain color at the base. But they said this will replace all those, those old milk rings and things you used to throw around your miniatures. I was like, whoa. What are you talking about? It's a really dated or really oddly specific reference. I don't remember milk rings and D&D being a thing. But this will replace those milk rings. You can program this thing with your battle cry or whatever you want. It can make all kinds of annoying sounds. So you're not just playing your character, you're embodying a whole new identity. I think they're kind of conflating like what RPG gaming is and what this miniature is, because they're talking about you're so immersed in your character now because this little thing, makes a sound.
Oh my god!
Yeah, but it's a little device that will fit in a 1x1 inch grid and has a non-slip base and doesn't look like. And the whole thing, if the whole thing was an LED screen, maybe that would be nice. But it's only like the top half of it that has a little portrait area, and it still has a base, and it says Doppel, has the little branded logo, and you can choose the color of that little not LED area. It has a bunch of different colors, but I don't understand what it's actually replacing. And actually, let me see. I didn't get the price point is pretty high. I think it's like it's over $100, like $120, $140 for one of these things.
For one.
And so I think that's why they're kind of saying you're going to be the only guy at the table with this thing, and you're going to be impressing everyone because no one else is going to fall for this. It's a very odd, it's just a very odd way to go at this. I could see if they could come up with a cheap way to light a bunch of little LEDs that you could move around and everything looked kind of the same way. And so you had like a dozen of these as a set and you could use them for the monsters and the characters. But yeah, I don't know how anyone's going to get a couple of $1,000 together to
Yeah. So in our last Black Sword Hack session, we had this big finale fight on this prince's pleasure barge, and there were probably about 20 standees. Right. So I would that's a fortune.
Yes.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. And it doesn't even look very good because not all of it lights up. Two of the sides don't have any sort of imagery on them at all. And it's an odd thing. I'm surprised that it got so well funded. I don't know what people think they're going to do with this thing. But one of the features we've neglected to discuss is that this is going to foster closer bonds between players, because with your Doppel device, you can seamlessly share your character profiles and the images and everything with each other. I don't know why you would do that, because your miniature should be your miniature, but yeah, you can share data wirelessly.
So I assume that means there's some sort of app you're going to be using for this.
Yeah, they were showing a smartphone, adjusting everything. So yeah, it'll be, and as soon as they stop supporting that app, then this miniature is completely useless. But other than that, yeah.
And then, this sounds like everything we were kind of shaking our head about with the whole D&D VTT. I'm blanking on what it's called right now, but anyway, being more like a video game, know, and people won't learn the rules, et cetera, et cetera. It's like if someone was talking about that and like their grandpa heard them and then tried to interpret that into something else.
Yeah,
it's like, It's like, no, this is not a good idea. And it really sounds like they're trying to appeal to that one guy in the gaming group who's probably the guy no one really wants to be in the gaming group. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, oh, look at me with my fancy LED box I'm putting on the table. It makes noises. Get out of here.
Yeah, I do think it's somebody with some electronic engineering background that's like, you know what I could do? I bet I could put a thing together that, So without really having to understand like what people would want to do or what would be required. Yeah. So
this thing infiltrated my Instagram like advertisement algorithm for a while, and I saw it. I read the top of the blurb and was like, "Oh, that looks stupid," and just moved on.
Right.
And now that you've like explained it more, I'm like, "Oh, this is definitely stupid." Okay.
Yeah, I was really impressed by how odd this was, and it's getting enough attention. And maybe if they are spending money on advertising and stuff, that's how they're getting this kind of response, because people are like, "Oh, sure, I've got LED dice, I've got LED whatever." So why not? I'll add this to my weird RPG accessory collection. Yeah, but it supposedly has motion detection as well. There's way too much stuff built into this thing. Like, I think it doesn't need
motion detection.
Yeah. So
for what?
I don't know. So maybe that activates sounds or colors or something. But I think all of this is programmable. So you have all of these sliders and things in this app that you can tell it, when this happens, do this. When this happens, do this. But I don't know. You're gonna have somebody sitting there on their phone, being like, "Wait! My miniature's not programmed yet. I wanna be ready when I get poisoned. I want to really have a cool effect happen."
This is the same thing as when we talk about like game masters worrying too much about programming music, and they kind of like break the immersion because they're skipping around looking for the right track or whatever. But imagine that with everyone at the table doing it,
right?
Like. Terrible.
Well, let me load my injured portrait. I want to look injured. I'm down to 5 HP. I want to look really injured. Yes, it's odd. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people trying things, I think, because as we slowly leave the analog world into this like weird, virtual hellscape of gaming, I think there's going to be people that are going to try some half steps and things, and we're going to see, a few more of these, because there already were there's D20s that have a sensor in them that you can roll a physical D20 and it links to Roll20 and it puts the results on the VTT. So you're rolling a physical die, but it's generating it in the VTT. So yeah, they're trying. Is
like, why?
Right.
Either trust your players to roll their dice and tell the truth, or use a dice roller.
Yeah.
Like, why?
Yeah.
Why this in between step?
It's the best of both worlds.
So if you're sharing your character information with other players, are you like? That has to be in the app, right?
Yeah, right. It's probably just in the app.
But is the app going to support like different kinds of character sheets? I doubt it.
No, it's going to support the world's greatest role-playing game only. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Oh, sorry. Pretty much. I think that's all we're going to get is a D&D compatible Doppel. Yeah, they did mention that it's universally compatible, and they didn't really explain why. So I guess they did like reference, I think, 6 RPG systems, so that maybe they will make character sheets, for those systems. But yeah, there's a big emphasis on it being universally compatible. But if it's just a miniature, what's the compatibility? So that must be the character sheet that they're talking about. Mm-hmm. Is it's system agnostic? But no, you can't have a system agnostic character sheet. It's going to have specific information on it. So yeah, because that's kind of part of the system. It's the character sheet. So yeah, we'll see how this is one of those things, though, that I think this guy can probably do really great prototypes, has a lot of great ideas, some programming skill, whatever the team or whoever's working on this. But when it's going to come down to the actual manufacturing, if they choose the wrong manufacturer in China or wherever they're going to do these, that's where it's going to fall apart, because they're going to get their final products back and the LEDs are going to flicker, the Wi-Fi is not going to connect. There's going to be something that they made a mistake on sourcing, and they're going to have, 100,000 of these things, and about 50% of them are going to be faulty. Yeah, this sounds like one of those really dangerous things to do final production on.
I hate to keep beating a dead horse here, but are they going to expand this to like, and then there'll be a bigger one for like ogres and stuff, yeah. And then there'll be one for a dragon that's basically just like a little computer monitor you're putting on your table. And
yeah, right. You just put a monitor on. Yeah. Here it is. Boom. My LED miniature. That's a monitor.
$500.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, if this is successful, I'm sure that they have plans to expand. Yeah. But yeah, I guess for right now, they're just showing this little 1-inch little thing. But we'll see. We'll see if we ever hear about this again. But they sure did hit pretty hard. Yeah, the advertising and the space. This kept popping up in various things. So I thought it would be fun to address. So more than just a game accessory, a big waste of money.
More than just a paperweight.
Yeah, right. Well, good luck with that. Well, I have something here that it would fit on an 1-by-1 grid, and it is something that I would find that I have found quite useful. So this will fit in a 1-by-1 square, and it will do much more for you than show a portrait of your character. So I've recently found Magic Mind. So Magic Mind is a what they call a mental performance shot. It's something that will give you a sustained caffeine release and has mushrooms and herbs that will allow you to get better focus and productivity. So one thing that I ran into, so doing all the world building that we've been doing and all of the planning for the RPG campaign, was originally I was doing it as coffee based, but I can't really do that much caffeine anymore, and the kind of spike, the up and down of high energy and then lag is pretty brutal. So something that has sustained release like Magic Mind might be a good solution for you, because it worked well for me. So this is something that you can take in the morning along with whatever coffee or tea you already have. So I've pretty much had to cut things down to 1 cup in the morning. And with the addition of Magic Mind, that lets that caffeine release sustain me until lunchtime, so I don't have that drag. And the other thing that it's done is given me my mornings back. So when I do too much coffee to stay awake, then I have trouble getting to sleep. So my sleeping hours are shortened, and I'm basically either having to nap or sleep later into the morning. So with doing something like this, I'm able to get my morning back and have a much more productive, functional AM. So the ingredients of Magic Mind, the main ingredient is matcha. So the Japanese green tea, and that's something that's always been beneficial in giving you sustained caffeine release. But for me, it doesn't as quickly enough give that to you. So this in concert with a cup of coffee in the morning is just exactly the right amount of wake up and then keep going. So mental energy and focus. So just 1 cup in the morning of whatever you usually use, plus Magic Mind will give you some really decent results. So it's all natural ingredients sourced from the best suppliers they could find. So there's no sugar. It's nut-free, vegan, keto, and paleo friendly. So just green tea, mushrooms, and herbs. So the main ingredients, things like lion's mane, the Bacopa, monomeria, the nootropic, a lot of nootropic ingredients. So things that have been found to produce good focus and high energy, and also things that reduce anxiety, like lion's mane reduces anxiety and inflammation. So a lot of nice results from this combination. And if you would like to try it, so they recommend about 3 days of regular use before you're going to feel the full effects. But from the very first morning, I was able to feel a difference in that level and that nice sustained caffeine release. If you would like to try Magic Mind for yourself, we have a discount. So through Upturned Table, you can get a 20% discount on your first purchase. So if you go to the link below, magicmind.com/upturned, that's MAGICMIND.com /upturned, UPTURNED. You can use our code, which is upturned20, UPTURNED20, to get 20% off of any purchase. They have a starter pack of five bottles, which will give you your first kind of like real experience to see how it works for you. But they also offer a subscription. So a subscription is a daily dose or daily bottle that will then be renewed every month. So they'll send you a month's worth of Magic Mind regularly without having to reorder. And with our code, you get 56% off of your first subscription for Magic Mind. And so there's this is kind of a worry-free deal because they have a 100% money-back guarantee, no questions asked, and they will refund within 3 to 4 hours if you're not happy with the results or you just it doesn't meet your expectations. So the subscription, they'll send you a 30-pack every month, so you never need to reorder. So visit the website. I'll put a link in the description. This will help support the channel, and the URL lets them know where you came from and that you heard about it from us, and use the code upturn20 to try Magic Mind. So thank you, Magic Mind. We appreciate your sponsorship. And now back to our regularly scheduled program with my video. There we go. All right. Well,
I got up at 5 this morning. I probably could use some of that stuff.
Yes. Yeah. Keep you going. Yeah, it's funny the difference in how you source your caffeine, because I really leaned heavily. I think all my creativity, all of my productivity was all heavily coffee based, and as soon as I can't deal with that anymore, it's So it's sad. I've come to a turning point, a tragic turning point in my life where I can't just lean into caffeine. I guess I have to. If I was in the U.S., I'd probably be dosing, something more potent.
Oh, don't go there.
That's what the kids seem to be doing these days. But
lion's mane is really hot right now. Like, I did a stint as a vegan for a couple of years, and so I still get a lot of stuff relevant to that in my social media and stuff. And there's a lot of people making like steak out of lion's mane.
Oh wow, stuff. Interesting. Yeah. It's funny. There are so many things, because I'm just surprised how there are so many things that we haven't figured out how beneficial they are and how to extract that beneficial quality. So I think that's why a lot of mushrooms and herbs and things, they have a benefit, and the pharmaceutical industry hasn't figured out how to pull that beneficial chemical out of there because it works in concert with other things, So that's there still are things out there that haven't been exploited by big pharma.
Yeah.
All right. So Troika, they are helping to save the world with a little bit of charity. They put together a charity bundle, and they knocked off about 20% of the list price for this collection of books. So the weird fantasy world of Troika will support Doctors Without Borders. And especially during this time when there are people dying and people that need critical care internationally, I think Doctors Without Borders is a good charity to be supporting at this time. So Milsonian Arts Council, the makers of Troika, publishers of Troika, are putting this bundle together, so 20% off. And this is in cooperation with Igloo Tree, which is an independent bookstore that has a lot of interesting RPG, a lot of overall interesting content, but they've got some great RPG content as well. So the total price is £72, which is 20% off of the normal list. And what that's going to get you is a softcover edition of the Troika core rules. That I think this is the one that has the cover that folds out as the GM screen. So it's a pretty cool, like well-designed book. The Walgravik's Warehouse, which is an adventure set entirely in an abandoned storage room of a vicious wizard. The Matthew Graveline's Articles of the Arcana, which will allow you to use a tarot deck, kind of bolt a tarot deck onto the Troika rule set to let you create more weirdly unreliable results for things. And also they're talking about how the tarot has always been the tarot deck has always been an inspiration for tabletop play and design. So now you can use your own tarot deck right in the setting itself. Black Knights, which is one of their newer releases. So this is a 16-page risograph zine, which depicts a sextet of fresh character backgrounds, allowing players to embody vindictive swordsmen and severe champions. So you'll always need some new player options, character options for Troika. And so there's no listing for the, there's no end date listed for this bundle. So it'll just go on as long as they're probably getting a response from it. So so the 1, 2, 3, 4, am I missing something? Yeah. So yeah, there is the 5 books, 5 separate physical source books from Troika. It sounds like I only listed 4. There's something else in there. Oh, there it is. Aetherjack's Almanacs. First issue describes 3 common vehicle engines that you can use in your campaigns. There we go. And they also suggested that the Articles of Arcana work well for solo RPG play as well. So if you want to play Troika solo, having the tarot deck add-on is good. There we go. I forgot the Almanac. So yeah, that's available. I'll send you, or I'll put a link in the description for that bundle, and it's just on the Melsonian Arts Council website. And lists everything that you get, and that the bundle supports Doctors Without Borders.
Speaking of mushrooms.
Oh, yes.
Whenever I see Troika art or read a little bit about Troika, I think mushrooms may have been involved.
Yes, I think
a different class of mushrooms.
I think they are. Yeah, I think there is actually an entire adventure, a mushroom-based adventure for Troika. So yes, I think that's true. There may have been at least producing the artwork. They had to maybe be a little more clear-headed for the rules, but the artwork is definitely may have a.
But that is a really good cause. Regardless of your political opinion, there's some crazy stuff going on in Eastern Europe right now, and supporting Doctors Without Borders is actually a great choice on their part.
Yeah, I think so too. Nice. Yeah, so visit that link if you want to try out Troika for a good cause. All right. So I hope this doesn't become a regular thing on the weekly, but we're ending again with another death. This time it's a little bit frustrating because this did not have to happen. This is not a death of a person that's been sick for a long time. That's been of advanced age. This is a younger creator, and this isn't someone related directly to tabletop, but because he did a YouTube channel and was involved in social media and things. This is a comic book artist. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the death of Ed Piskor. So Ed Piskor is a comic creator that he's worked for Marvel with X-Men. He's done his own done his own projects and been published by various Fantagraphics and various small press publishers. He got his start working for Harvey Piskor for American Splendor, the Our Movie Year collection. So he originally was asked to do 4 pages for that collection, and they upped him to 25 because they really liked his style. He worked with Piskor again in 2007 on the graphic novel Macedonia. His first solo work was WYSIWYG, which was eventually, he self-published at first, was then collected by Top Shelf in 2012. His most famous and maybe most notable personal work was the Hip Hop Family Tree, a series that he began as a webcomic on Boing Boing, the website. And then Fantagraphics started publishing it in 2013. And they said, yeah, they're close to 20,000 copies in print from Fantagraphics back when the original year that they released. So it was very successful. And they've re-released it recently in a really nice hardcover edition. So if you ever read any of those comics, they're collected now in a really, really excellent edition. And that was what he won the 2015 Eisner Award for Best Reality-Based Work when that collection came out. So he worked on X-Men Grand Design for Marvel. And more recently, his splatterpunk comic Red Room from 2021 has several volumes of collected issues, and his most recent work that appeared on his Patreon was Switchblade Shorties, which I think was only available as a web cartoon on his Patreon. But he worked on with his partner Jim Rugg the Cartoonist Kayfabe YouTube channel, which was amazing. Basically, 2 comic book artists that just take a look at their favorite comics. They interview other, much more famous, much more established comic creators, talk about history, inspiration, and they basically will put a book down under the camera and go page by page and just point out what's amazing, what's innovative, like why this book is, you should be paying attention to this book, or you should be paying attention to this artist, or how their style has changed. It was amazing that their knowledge, their combined knowledge of kind of history and their understanding of the visual medium is amazing. So unfortunately, last month, there was I think it first showed up on social media, where a girl posted I think on Instagram, like a reel or some sort of animation that was screenshots of DMs that of her going back and forth with Piskor and her claiming that she was being groomed. So at the time, this was kind of during pandemic years that these DMs are from, she, I guess, was a fan of his art and approached him. I'm not sure if she was liking his things and then he messaged her, or, how the interaction started. But at the time she was 17, so underage by months. But her accusations of grooming and her proof of this by posting his DMs is what started this kind of avalanche and the end of Ed's career, unfortunately. So, I think we're in this world now of blogs that need content, and so something like this pops up and it's comics related, so they jump on it. So Comics Beat was the first one to kind of dive into this, and there have been so as soon as this came up with this girl, then other girls stepped forward and said, yes, he's been a bit of a sex pest. He's made weird offers to me, to help my career, for, doing things for him. And so this whole, kind of like the Judge Dredd of, social media piles on him, and without hearing his side of anything, basically he has his an art show. So there was an art show that was going to be happening in Pittsburgh of his work. That's canceled. I'm sure, and he's not. Nobody's picking up the phone anymore for him at Marvel or Fantagraphics. The local news crew goes to his house, goes to his house and his parents' house, doxes his parents' house on television. So now they're getting harassed, and all over these kind of unsubstantiated accusations of, misdeeds. And this one case of a girl that's a few months under, probably a very troubled girl that's a few months under 18. And so what happens is this happens in the course of 2 weeks, and then there is a letter posted on Facebook by Ed Piskor that basically wants to tell his side of things and says, thank you very much. I'm going out the way that I want to, and then no one hears from him again. No one's able to reach him. No one's able to contact him. So on April 1st, he posts a letter on Facebook and basically says that he's done. He's ending things, and that proves to be true because no one has. So then shortly after that, his obituary was posted, and they announced his death with no cause. So I don't understand what people got from this. I mean, the thing that I don't like about social media and the tone that always people take is no decent person and a good person would have done this. This is what good people should do. And nobody is clean. Nobody is innocent in life and in these situations. And Ed wasn't married. He didn't have kids. He was probably a person that only related to women or only had interactions with women because he had an established, a published comics career. So he used his success to attract women. And so you have to be a little suspicious, a woman in their 20s or a girl in her late teens interacting with a 40-year-old man. There are assumptions that they're not just, wonderful friends. There are people, somebody's looking for something and somebody's looking for something else. And we can't pretend that the world doesn't work like that. And it's very sad that this becomes, these allegations get blown up to the point where this artist loses everything, and then he just realizes that he's not going to survive this, and that's the end. So it really is frustrating. This has happened in the tabletop community as well. There has been and also the video game world as well. So I don't want to jump on any specific cause or voice, but I want to say that this kind of stuff is ridiculous. You got to realize, like, if he was functioning in his life, only from his love of comics and his ability to draw them, if you're going to take that away from him, you've taken away everything, because, there was obviously nothing for him to fall back on. And the fact that this had to happen just for some, I don't know, whatever this clout farming or whatever people are doing online to depict themselves to get some attention, because all of the women that he was interacting with were aspiring comic artists. So if he's not going to do anything for them, then their interaction with him will do something for them by, a victimization, depicting themselves as being exploited by him when he didn't, if he would have put them in touch with his agent, or if he would have gotten them a publishing deal, we wouldn't have heard any of these stories. So that kind of thing is very frustrating. And I don't know, did you see anything about this in the news, Matt?
No. No. I actually wasn't. I'm not familiar with this comic book artist. I have a good friend that's a huge comic book guy that I'm probably going to have to consult with on this. He's my go-to for comic book stuff like this. The only thing it's a tough thing to talk about.
Yeah, it is.
I can only speak from one sort of experience I've had where I written a script for a play that was going to be produced and at a local rep, and it's part of a festival. There were a bunch of plays, and I got a director, we got our cast together, and literally like the second week of just getting everything started, an ex-girlfriend of one of the cast members made an offhand comment on Twitter about him. Well, basically, she implied he sexually abused her one time, and then everyone in the cast quit. So instantly, the wheels fell off of everything, and there was a bunch of flaming of people online, which is stupid anyway. But my only thing was, I asked the repertory company to investigate and make a decision the way a business would. and they refused to. They basically bent to the hype, the overreaction by all their fellow actors and what have you. And that was really upsetting, because I don't want to victim shame anyone.
Right.
What this woman said may be completely valid. It's everything after that that's a problem. I think you were kind of getting into it too. It's the internet, the snowball rolling downhill, like everything gets blown out of proportion, when really what needed to happen was everyone step back, some kind of formal investigation take place.
Right.
And obviously that that didn't happen in time for this guy. And I had to pull my script for my show, because not to defend the guy that was being blamed, because there was no investigation. Who knows? Right. But because the rep company refused to do anything about it. And they just responded to the social pressure of it all. And that's kind of the same thing, only 10 times worse, because it's the internet, and he's a fairly successful artist. So he's got way more exposure to people on the internet. So like in that sense, the internet makes things 100 times more terrible. And I really do wish people would take a step back and wait for there to be some sort of either official look into things, or just move on. Like, well, if you've made a moral judgment about this guy, move on. Right. Like, don't get online and flame the dude. You're not the cops. What are you doing? You know?
Yeah. I don't understand this. I mean, because I understand social justice, and I understand what the motivation for that would be. But in a lot of these small cases of interpersonal relationships, that's not social justice. This is not this huge wave, this huge movement that they're defending against. This is an interaction between two people that they're making a judgment on, and they're labeling. Like, he got labeled as a groomer, as grooming. And I think that's absolutely ridiculous, because, I mean, he would have to work pretty fast, because he probably only had a few months of only messaging her. So, when there's not even, that's the frustrating part, is when there's not even any physical interaction that people are making these claims. I was being abused online by his messages. It's like, you can block and mute, and there's so many other things you can do if you feel like that at all. And the fact that, the innocence, like having to, this babe in the woods, of course, she's not legally able to make any decisions for herself, not being a legal adult, but she knows what she was doing. She was, making inroads, to help a career. She was showing work to a professional to further a career. So, there's blame on both sides. I mean, if the behavior is unacceptable, I think the industry should kind of respond, and he should be labeled a sex pest at the worst, not a groomer, or, somebody that is actually causing, irreparable damage. I just think that nobody is kind of sharing their responsibility for, any of these interactions. But I want to read a couple of things that he said at the end of this letter that was written at the end of his life. So one of the last lines was, "I knew I wasn't going to be able to survive this. Comics is beyond a profession to me. It's everything. That might sound sad and pathetic to some, but this culture and medium gave me the greatest joy in my life." And another line, "This is the calmest I've felt all week. It's over for me. I'm sorry for the hurt it'll cause my family and closest buds. I hope it makes people think twice when joining an internet feeding frenzy. There you have it. Control freak to the last. Peace out." And then he signed his name, and he gave the years. That was really under his name. He gave his birth and death year. And like you were talking about with these kind of situations, his partner on Cartoonist Kayfabe on the YouTube channel immediately professionally distanced himself. Like, once this came out, once this hit the media, he said, I'm no longer working with Ed Piskor. And, that kind of thing, because he's looking out for his career. He has his own career, and he's stepping back. But at the same time, you got to have, your friends' backs. It's really, because this is what happens. This is the result of everybody being banished, basically, turning your community, turning their back on someone when this is all they had. This is what you get. And I just don't think that this kind of thing is necessary. And I don't think people really understand. They feel so maybe good about themselves, and it is kind of a tribal bonding thing, to chase away the evil spirits, whatever they're seeing as these bad actors, bad forces in their group, and it bonds them closer together because we stopped this terrible thing. But you really have to think about what you're doing to real people, and I think this is a really good result of that.
Yeah, and it's hard, right? Because
example of a result of this.
Yeah, because maybe he was being a creep, but he didn't act on it, right? He was literally just being a creep over messaging.
Right.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but so you call him a creep, you block him, you move on. If it comes out in the public, everyone, hey, you're kind of being a creep. Like that should be the end of it. Like, not because as far as I know, you haven't mentioned anything. It's not like he, obtained sexually explicit images of a minor, or he went to her house and did something, or anything that would get you arrested, right? So why are we going past the point of just saying, I don't approve of this? Like, why are we turning this into this huge thing? Like, that's just the internet, though. I mean, I could go on about how the internet, all it does is amplify bullshit. So
right. Yeah, so that's too bad. This came up suddenly, and I know it's not directly tabletop related, but I wanted to mention this because this is just going to keep happening, and you've got to realize you can't go after people's careers. You can't go after people's way of feeding themselves over this kind of nonsense just because you feel I don't know. It's hard. It's really hard, and especially because this is between men and women. There's a lot of implied abuse and power issues and things. But if you're talking to a guy twice your age, he's not interested in much about you. So I don't know. I feel really. I know that sounds like victim blaming, but that's so frustrating that it's difficult. And there is nobody that has made sexual abuse allegations. I think there was one woman that came forward, and they had consensual. They had met in person. She wasn't underage, and I think they had consensual relations. So this is not. None of this is about any sort of physical abuse. This is all words said, and that was the thing. The frustrating thing about his letter, it was very long, multiple pages, and he was trying to explain what he meant and trying to say this. It wasn't like this. It's not like this. It's not like this. And you don't owe those people anything. You don't owe all of those assholes on social media anything. I mean, the best thing to do is just to say, I'm still here, assholes. No matter what you try to do to me, fuck you. And I think that's the best reaction to all of this kind of attacks, is just to still be there after that and not let whatever they can take away from you defeat you. But yeah, this wasn't the case. So very frustrating. So I will try to stop ending the weekly on a death, the death of an individual, a creative individual every week. But rest in peace, Ed Piskor. So that will do it for this week. Where can people find you, Matt?
Oh, I don't know if I want to say now, but
they're coming after you, Matt.
I'm on Instagram and Threads. It's at Hargold, HARGALD, where I'm complaining about how much I hate laying out pages for my RPG thing. That's way overdue right now. But yeah, come on by and don't bring the hate.
Don't bring
How about you?
Hey, I do. I try to do, when I'm functional, a cartoon, Abuse Cartoons, live stream that on YouTube and Twitch. So abusecartoons.com or gocomics.com/domestic abuse if you want to read the archive. So I'm waiting to be canceled any day now with that name for my weekly cartoon. But if you absolutely love what we're doing here at at the weekly, consider becoming a weekling. And you can do that on patreon.com/upturntable. Tell us what you want to see more of. Tell us you don't want to hear about anyone's death anymore on the weekly. And share with us things you find interesting on tabletop. We will be doing more things. So we'll be back next week, not tomorrow, but the week after, for more Dune RPG on the live stream. So subscribe to the channel if you want to be notified when that goes live, either on YouTube or Twitch. And we stream on lots of different platforms, so you should be able to find us somewhere. And yes, so Upturned Table on all social media. So that will do it for this week. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.